won the Pennsylvania primary after weeks of buildup and recent polls showing that her lead in the Keystone State was slipping. She pulled out a victory in the 158 delegate-rich state. Now, we are expecting Senator Clinton and Obama to speak shortly, and we will bring you both of those speeches when they happen. We have complete coverage tonight. We will begin with former White House Press Secretary Ari Fleischer, former Democratic pollster Pat Caddell, and former Pennsylvania Senator Rick Santorum. Rick, if these numbers hold up, there's no way to spin it. This is a huge night for Hillary Clinton, and you might even say she's the comeback kid.
Yeah, she did very, very well. And if you look at the numbers, you know, across the state in the bitter areas, quote, of Pennsylvania, I mean, she just rocked and rolled. I mean, you know, you're seeing counties where she got 70, you know, high 60s, 70% of the vote. Up in Bob Casey's home area, up in the northeastern part of Pennsylvania, I mean, she just rolled over Obama. That tells you something about the kind of voters that Democrats need to win Pennsylvania are those kinds of Democrats. They're blue-collar Democrats, and she just did exceptionally well. And you know, I got all sorts of reports from friends at the polls who were telling me that those folks came to the polls with a message for Obama that they just didn't like, you know, what he was serving to them in Pennsylvania, and obviously it was reflected in tonight's results.
But one of the things that Karl Rove pointed out early tonight, Senator Santorum, is that, look, even if she won by 10 points, and it appears she may be well on her way to that margin of victory,
she's going to win by bigger than that.
Well, okay, but that would only be a 16-delegate or so pickup, depending on the distribution. Certainly, she's got a long way to go, starting out down at 139 points.
Yeah. I would say it's not delegates right now. They're trying to figure out who's the best person to run as the president in the fall. And I think what you're seeing in key states, Democrats don't win Pennsylvania. I don't know how they win the election. And I think it's very clear Ohio and Pennsylvania are not states Barack Obama is going to run well against John McCain in.
Yeah. You want to, Ari Fleischer? I know you're dying to weigh in here. Go ahead.
Well, I think it's too early to say she's the comeback kid. She's got too high a mountain to climb before anybody can say that. You know, to use a football analogy, Sean, this is the beginning of the fourth quarter, and she's down by about 3 touchdowns. She may have scored a touchdown tonight to open the fourth, but she's got a long way to go. And frankly, at the end of the day, this is a good news development short-term for Republicans because they keep fighting, but I think Obama is still the nominee.
Ari, let me explain a little bit more about what I mean by that. If you look at states like Ohio, and you look at, you know, such a big victory here where she's outspent 3-1, what appears that's happening here is that Barack Obama is not winning Reagan Democrats, which is the case that she's trying to make here, and that he's not going to be as electable in the general election. I think that's pretty significant considering he cannot close the deal. He cannot seem to win the states, and I know that Hillary will make that case to the superdelegates, but he can't seem to close the deal, and I think there's been a new narrative that has emerged that's certainly hurting him. Don't you agree?
Well, his coalition that he's used to win is your traditional college-educated, post-college-educated, upper-income Democrat, which is a dominant wing in the liberal wing of the Democratic Party. It doesn't do enough, though, in the general election to win elections, though. That's where John McCain's advantage with independents could play to McCain's advantage, and in a very anti-Republican year, I mean, McCain can win. What I keep picking up, though, from Republicans, Sean, is Republicans really want to run against Barack Obama now. They have seen enough signs of weakness in Indiana, even more important.
Senator Santorum, picking up on what Ari just said, could this be the beginning of some momentum toward making the case that, you know, she's more electable and affect the way people vote in Indiana and even going forward North Carolina?
I think this is a huge win for her. I mean, again, given the amount of money that he spent, given how the national media has completely covered for this guy up until, in some respects, the last couple of weeks, this is if Pat's right, and I've looked at all these counties, and I kept clicking on the counties.
I don't mean to interrupt you, sir, but just wanted to, there's the mayor of Philly, Michael Nutter, and that means that Hillary's about to speak. Just so you know what's going on our screen. Senator, go ahead. Sorry.
Gotcha. I look in all these little counties across Pennsylvania, and Pat's right. She's running up huge margins. Most of those votes aren't in. I think this number could be a 10-plus victory. And if that's the case, this is a momentum shifter for her.
All right.
Let me tell you about the margin,
go ahead.
guys. What's happening, given the margin, the vote, she's going to get, I think, out of Pennsylvania tonight. If you just put that with Florida, but at least they were both on the ballot, right now they'd be dead even with popular votes.
Right. So margin is very important, Ari. You agree that margin is significant. We got to look at the point spread, basically, and that really tells a story beyond everything else, how big that margin is.
There are two numbers that you have to keep.
It gives her a moral argument.
there are two numbers you have to keep your eye on right now. The size of Obama's current lead and then the margin of any of her victories. But the problem still remains.
Yeah.
It's proportionate representation. So it is almost impossible for her to rev up the type of margin she needs to win, particularly when Obama is going to win North Carolina by a comfortable margin. So she can gain.
I'm not sure about
but
that.
I still don't see at the end of the month of June.
One at a time there.
Hold on a
Let Larry
second.
finish.
I still don't see at the end of the month of June or the beginning of the month of June when it's over that she's closed the gap enough. And then it's up to the superdelegates.
All right, Pat, you have a different opinion on that. Pat, go ahead.
Obama. Yeah, I think we better watch North Carolina very carefully because I think those margins right now are artificial, particularly with white voters right now. And let me just say, the other thing is, given what she is getting margin-wise in these districts, as Karl Rove was talking about, she will get, if she gets over 70% in these districts, she's going to pick up the extra delegates. It's not going to simply be a straight proportion where she has to give up a lot. She's going to win the extra delegates in these 3 and 4 delegate seats because she's topping 75% in a lot of these counties. He's coming out of Allegheny with a 12-point lead.
Well, let me ask this question. As we look at the states that we're going forward in here, we got Kentucky and West Virginia and Indiana, and as we mentioned, North Carolina and Oregon. If we started out tonight, she needed to win 60% of the remaining delegates. Ari, you're saying no way she can do that.
Yeah, I think it's too late and the mountain is too high for her to climb. So the real issue is, can she get enough momentum here at the end, and do the Democrats start to say Obama is fundamentally flawed when it comes to a general election candidacy, that it shifts momentum in June where the superdelegates can bolt from Barack Obama. That is going to be a really hard call, because that means they're bolting the African-American base of the party and all these young people. It is hard to be a Democrat superdelegate in this environment.
All right, but again, we go back to an age-old argument. Pat Caddell, you're in the Democratic Party. If Barack Obama wins the popular vote, if he wins the elected delegates...
I'm telling you...
Go ahead.
Right.
You go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
This is a process, not a suicide pact. The fact of the matter is he has got problems. Whether he has got to decide. We've got to find out whether he can get over them. He needs to win Indiana. I think right now he's looking at some major defeats coming.
Pat, I want you to answer this specific question. It's very hard for him to now lose the elected delegates. It's probably going to be hard. Now, although she's going to make significant inroads,
neither
if
of
these
them
numbers
are going to have a majority.
Yeah, but hang on. But she's going to make significant inroads in the popular vote tonight. If he wins the popular vote in the end, and he wins the elected delegates in the end, and she's got to win this with the superdelegates, it's an issue we have brought up many times. Barack Obama supporters, if she takes the nomination through the superdelegates, aren't they going to feel like this election was stolen from them?
The answer is absolutely yes.
Absolutely
yes.
The answer to that for everybody is going to be yes. But look, I'm the Democrat. I'll tell you what's happening here, which is she has got a shot. She needs a moral argument. She has got a shot of coming out of this with an argument that she has won the popular vote, perhaps. If that happens, we're really headed for a mess.
Yeah.